This is Stuarto Glasser, and welcome to my Thanksgiving show.
What's the matter?
You know what's the matter. I'm unhappy.
You agreed to play the turkey.
Never agreed. Why would I agree to be the turkey?
You know, it's not a big deal. All you do is, cluck, 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 and you wave.
First of all, we don't cluck. We gobble, okay?
I stand corrected.
Yeah, and if it's not such a big deal, why don't you be the turkey?
You want me to be the turkey?
Yeah, come on.
You want me to be the turkey?
Yeah.
I don't think so. You know turkeyisms that I don't know. Even the expression on your face is quintessential turkey. I don't see myself as a turkey. You know, if it was an eagle, I might consider it. An eagle is graceful, it flies and soars. The only problem was that the eagle wasn't very tasty. You're going to be great.
What the hell are you talking about?
I don't know.
Boy, am I stuffed. You see what I did there?
No.
I was in character.
You see, that's the reason you should be the turkey. Maybe next year I'll think about it.
No, this is fun. Cluck, cluck!
It's Thanksgiving Day and we're gathered round. Little children make a joyful sound. And there's no school and we get to play. And we're all thankful for this day, except for the turkey. La 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 la, except for the turkey.
What you just heard was a little skit between Robert De Niro and Billy Crystal. It was actually a promo that was recorded for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade many years ago. Thought I'd play it again. I haven't heard it in a long time. Well, tonight we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to talk about Thanksgiving. We're going to explore some of the myths. We're going to go to a turkey farm and see where the turkeys actually come from. And we're going to have some good discussion with several different people about the meaning of Thanksgiving and what thanks is all about. But first, I'd like to introduce two very good friends of mine. First, we have Jody Bueller, and she has been gracious enough to come. Thank you, Jody, for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Stuarto.
And we're doing our celebration. And, of course, Jill the Dodge.
Gobble, gobble.
Yeah, she's definitely one of the nicest turkeys I know.
Oh.
Anyway, and
My dad used to call me Turkey Butt.
My dad used to call me Turkey Lurkey.
My dad used to call me stupid. No, he didn't say that. And my name is Stuarto Glasser, still is. Jody, I understand you have a good quote here about from Mahatma Gandhi.
I do. I came across it in some of my Thanksgiving research, and it goes a little like this. What do you think of Western civilization? Mahatma Gandhi was asked in the 1940s. To which Gandhi replied, Western civilization? I think it would be a good idea.
Classic.
Classic.
I'll go with that.
That's awesome.
I thought we would start our show today. For the celebration of Thanksgiving, we will have a discussion about a lot of different things about Thanksgiving and some of our own experiences, and we'll try to give you some information. But there's nothing better than starting a Thanksgiving show with a little Thanksgiving trivia. And we're going to go through a couple of these things and see what happens. Someone decided to create this for fun. And after each question, there is our wild turkey Tom that looks like this. So there's about 80 questions. Let's see if
Oh my gosh, the pressure.
So let's go for a couple and see what happens, okay? And by the way, some are multiple choice, some are true or false. This is a true or false. Thanksgiving is celebrated only in the United States.
False.
False.
It's celebrated in Canada, but it's
Canada.
in October.
That's right.
Woohoo.
Do we get bonus
Yeah,
points?
can we get prizes? Ding.
Now, this is very interesting. The Greek goddess of corn is A, Demeter, B, cornucopia, C, Ceres, or D, grainophilia.
I feel as though I should know this one. I'm going to go with the meter.
I am too, because the other one's a star.
She's Persephone's mom, and when
Yeah.
Persephone got taken to the underworld, winter happened. I feel like she's the goddess of the harvest, but I don't know if she's corn specific.
Demeter, down. All right, very good. The first department store to hold a Thanksgiving parade was...
Macy's.
Macy's.
All right, let's see here. You know what? It's Gimbel's.
Oh, Gimbel's. Miracle on 34th Street.
Okay. there you
Oh,
go.
I feel so bad. Oh,
And I think,
that's
wasn't
a
that
major
for
fail on my
Christmas?
part. Yes.
But I think Thanksgiving they did on
Thanksgiving-
22nd Street.
Were you there for the first Thanksgiving Day parade, Stuarto?
Can't you tell? What is the name of the famous rock credited to where the Pilgrims first landed?
Plymouth.
Plymouth Rock. All right, ding, ding. Very good. Okay.
I want to orient us for a minute in my overachieverness.
Okay.
So that we're talking, what, like early 1600s? 1621?
I don't have the date in front
I
of me.
think that's when the Pilgrims arrived. Oh, that was when the Jamestown colony was.
Well, this is completely related to that. This question is, the Indians who were invited to the Thanksgiving feast were of the Wampanoag tribe. Who was their chief? A, Massasoit, Permaquid, samoset, or squanto?
Squanto.
I'm sorry to say it was Massasoit, but squanto is a word I would have
I
said.
think that history is in debate here. Oh no, here's what I'm reading. Massasoit was head chief of the Wampanoags, or something along those lines, the treaty that gave the Pilgrims everything and the Indians nothing. And even that treaty was soon broken.
We'll do 2 more questions on that little subject, and then we're going to move ahead to a couple other real interesting questions. What was the name of the ship the Pilgrims came over on?
Which one? Isn't there 3?
What are our options? The
We have
Santa
no options.
Maria?
No, this is like
The Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria, the
It's in here.
Carnival Cruise.
Carnival Cruise. Kathy Lee Gifford, the first Pilgrim. The guess is?
Mayflower?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, really good. Who was the captain of the ship?
Captain John Smith. Jones
I
Smith.
feel like I'm in 8th grade again.
I do too. I'm really sad.
You did say
John?
part of the last name.
Smith?
Smithington.
Jones.
Jones.
Christopher Jones.
Right.
That's a name I've never heard.
Me neither.
Which president was the first to establish Thanksgiving as a legal national holiday to be held the 4th Thursday in November?
Ready?
know,
1,
wait,
2,
Abraham Lincoln, Franklin Roosevelt, Thomas Jefferson, or James Madison?
Wait. If you ask Wikipedia, it's Harry Truman. Abraham.
Lincoln.
Actually, it was Franklin D. Roosevelt, but Harry Truman probably took credit for it.
Franklin? No. Here's what I learned.
Okay.
Are you ready?
All
This
right.
is the real story.
So during the time of the Civil War, 1863, President Lincoln made a proclamation, I think it was in October,
You're right.
as a way of creating the Day of Unity between the North and the South.
This is absolutely right. But I think it was Franklin Roosevelt who actually signed it.
Oh.
Congress made it always the 4th Thursday in November. Roosevelt signed the bill. Lincoln thought it up.
This might explain why we have such mixed messaging and myths around
know.
Thanksgiving, that we're looking back to the 1600s, the 1800s, the mid-2000s? No, 1900s.
1900s.
Right.
And by now I'm confused, which is why I think we focus on the food
I think
and the
that-
gathering with family and friends
Yes.
I think you're
and the
right.
things that stay eternal as opposed to the weird politics.
All right, a couple of food questions. A major turkey company, which will remain nameless since this is community radio, says the best place to put the meat thermometer in the turkey is A, the breast, B, the thigh, C, the top of the leg, or D, at an angle so it hits both meat and the stuffing.
It's the angle
It's
one.
the angle D.
And we know that is wrong. It's the thigh. But as a food person, we would think about that because we didn't want to kill our guests. Now,
Proper temperature throughout.
okay, now this is our final question.
Oh, sad.
We can come back to this if we're really bored.
Okay.
And this is why is the male turkey often referred to as tom turkey? A, because it's more politically correct than using the word cock for male. Hen is a female turkey, by the way. B, after Thomas Jefferson. C, because Indians would catch them by pounding on tom-tom drums and lure them into traps. Or D, from an 18th century political cartoon. All right, well, let me tell you what they say here.
Okay.
And it's very interesting. Rumor has it Ben Franklin was mad that Thomas Jefferson opposed his idea to have the turkey as our national bird. So Ben Franklin mockingly called the turkey Tom Turkey. Ta-da.
Thanks, going on.
All right, well, I think that pretty much takes it.
Gets us warmed up and rolling.
Right.
There's one more I did want to throw in here, and this will be our final question. Which balloon was the first balloon in the 1927 Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade? Was it Mickey Mouse, Felix the Cat, Betty Boop, or Superman?
Oh, I kind of want to go with Felix the cat.
That's right.
Yay!
All right. Can turkeys drown when they look up in the rain?
Is this serious?
This is a serious
I
question.
think so because I think they're really dumb.
I'm going to go with Jill.
I'm going with Jody and Jill. That's it, folks. That was our little
That was our
turkey
bonus question.
And I think that if you guys are listening and want to play this at home, you can look up this turkey Thanksgiving trivia quiz on the internet. And the questions are by somebody by the name of Brownie Locks.
Thanks, Brownie Locks, for a fine quiz.
Yes.
Yes, thanks, Brownie Locks. Okay, we're going to take a little break and listen to a song I think is appropriate right now. And then we'll be back to talk about food and more of our Thanksgiving celebration.
Love to eat turkey. Love to eat turkey. Love to eat turkey, 'cause it's good. Love to eat the turkey like a good boy should. 'Cause it's turkey to eat so good. A turkey for me, turkey for you. Let's eat turkey in a big round shoe. Love to eat the turkey at the table. I once saw a movie with Betty Grable. Eat that turkey all night long. 50 million Elvis fans can't be wrong. Turkey, turkey dee, turkey, turkey dap. I eat the turkey and I take a nap. Thanksgiving is a special night. Jimmy Walker used to say dynamite. That's right. Turkey with the gravy and the cranberry. Can't believe the Mets traded Darryl Strawberry. Turkey for you and a turkey for me. Can't believe Tyson gave the girl BD. Gobble, gobble dee, a gobble, gobble docky. I used to go to camp at Lake Winnipesaukee. Come on, Kevin.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh, it'll be fun.
Okay.
A turkey for me, and a turkey for you. Let's eat the turkey in a big brown shoe. Turkey lead me, and a turkey lead me. Love to eat the turkey with a lot of stuffing. Turkey and sweet potato pie. Sammy Davis Jr. only had one eye. Oh, turkey with the girls and a turkey with the boys. My favorite kind of pants are corduroys. Gobble, gobble, gee, and a gobble, gobble, giggle. I wish turkey could only cost a nickel. Oh, I love turkey on Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving!
Okay, we're back, and I think one of the things that always interests most people on Thanksgiving, they look forward to it because it's there's a couple of things that are going on. Usually it's a 3-day or 4-day weekend. Secondly, the big department stores and most stores offer this incredible
Black Friday.
Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving.
Black Friday. Why do they call it Black Friday?
I don't know. There's a movement going on to call it also Buy Nothing Day, which I think is really fascinating. And Black Fridays to me always felt like a
Bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Jody, why don't you just tell me your opinion, what Thanksgiving has meant to you, and a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, well, I think that's true. There's something both nostalgic and kind of in our American mythology of people in hard times and what gathering together and being grateful for what we do have, for the food that's on the table, and how the community can either help feed folks that aren't, or those sort of stories of redemption. And our whole holiday season seems sort of to have that very beautiful thread running through it. Our Thanksgivings growing up were on the very traditional side, and so the family would all gather, and the traditional Thanksgiving food staples were all present. And it was made much more explicit for me when I was a teenager. My aunt moved into an old historic home down in Olympia, and so we would sit in the living room with the long table and the wainscoting on the walls, and have our very traditional meal.
Did your turkey glisten?
I believe
I have a feeling
there
it
was
did.
glistening. Yeah, and the mashed potatoes were light. And well, I was a vegetarian during that time, so I brought my own packet of veggie gravy that I got a little space on the stove for, and I brought my own pre-cooked delicata squash, and I had a sort
They
of...
didn't have tofurkey back then.
My family would not have stood for tofurkey,
Yes.
I think was more the case. So.
Well, we're going to have a discussion shortly on actually the vegetarian alternatives to Thanksgiving. Jill, tell me about yours.
Okay, mine was the exact, well, I shouldn't say exact opposite, because my grandparents were kind of the centerpiece of Thanksgiving, which is why we actually probably came together. I think had my grandparents not been alive, when I was younger, Thanksgiving probably would have been tacos. I mean, we weren't a very traditional family per se, But because my grandparents were alive and my grandfather was this great patriarch, we honored them. And so I think that was our Thanksgiving tradition, was honoring my grandparents. And my grandmother loves turkey. Oh, my God. I mean, this woman was all things turkey. My mom would say, do you want to have lamb this year? No, turkey. It was just my mom would come up with these great ideas. Nope, turkey, got to have turkey. So I think our traditions were more honoring the, patriarch and matriarch
and
of the
honoring
family.
their traditions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Once my grandparents passed, it went to tacos. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. My Thanksgiving memories really were very similar to the combination of your guys. A traditional Orthodox Jewish household back in Brooklyn, New York. So every day was kind of, every meal was sort of a big deal in a lot of different ways.
Well, because they're making lunch during breakfast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or they're talking about what they're going to have for lunch the next day before they even eat. Or the brisket wasn't lean enough and that sort of thing. But it was the same thing in the early years. It was kind of a thing where, it would happen at our house or maybe it would happen at another person's house. I had one of those typical Eastern European families where the grandmother and the grandfather lived, in the house. And my mother's brother, who was single until he was about 45, lived there. And then, of course, it was my sister and my mother and my father. And in the early days, we'd have Aunt Ruthie come over because she had never gotten married, and so
I've seen this movie before.
Yeah. So it was sort of that thing, and half of the day was transporting people from where they were to the house and then back again. The food was very interesting. Most of the time I remember it as being a big deal, and of course somebody would carve it, and my father might, but my mom was yelling at him so many times that they had the first aid kit close by because inevitably he would hurt himself or cut himself using a butter knife to cut the turkey or something, because she didn't want to use the knife that they were given for their wedding that was still wrapped in cellophane and refused to be used, saving it for some other day. As I grew up, like Jody as well, and I became a vegetarian later on, it was always a challenge. Very rarely got invited to other people's houses. If I did, it was always like, it was mashed potatoes and peas, basically. There were no tofurkeys or anything like that. I would bring something to munch on. And then there was a period of time where I spent a lot with an Italian family, and their family is a totally different thing. They started the morning off with cold cuts and bread and salami and peppers, and that was just like, part of breakfast after they had already had the leftover ziti from the night before. And then the first course literally was lasagna. It was a multi-meal. It was a giant lasagna with giant sausages and meatballs, and that was at about 11 or 12 o'clock. And then it was like, okay, that was like everybody go take a little walk or nap. And then we came back and started the process. So it's interesting how it comes from different places. Earlier in our trivia, we talked about Canada celebrating Thanksgiving. I'm wondering now with multicultural society if you've had any experiences besides the tacos in Los Angeles in kind of a Jewish household, but also, Jody, your experience with other cultures, and because being in the United States, even if you're another culture, talking about Asian or Spanish or Russian or something, have you had any experience?
I have only had one Thanksgiving that went outside of the sort of traditional role, and it was the year I was living up in Bellingham, and I was living in a house with 4 other women, and we decided to host Thanksgiving. So we had a bunch of our musician friends, and it was a 20-something Thanksgiving. A number of people there were from our community of friends. There were 2 sisters who were from Colombia. And so we cooked a turkey. I remember that being one thing, the sort of passing on of that, you're cooking your first turkey experience. But we also had an incredible potluck. Bellingham is sort of legendary in potluck zones.
Exactly.
So it was I just remember looking around the table and the wide variety of folks and the wide variety of dishes. I had not seen combinations like that before.
Well, this is a good segue. From our families and our traditions, as we've gone out on our own and, like in your case, experience a household with different people, Thanksgiving actually changed a little bit. It did become more of a potluck. There were more inventive, foods. There was probably, in some cases, alcohol involved and other things in a sense that it became more of a little different party. But talking about the food, was there a time at your tables back when you were young in the family, did they actually give thanks? Did you ever stop
Always.
for a minute and give thanks?
Even though at times we weren't as traditional food-wise, always gave thanks. Always gave thanks. And I don't even know that it was a prayer or, however other people do it. For us, it was what we're thankful for and more what we're grateful for. And we all went around the table and did our little homage to each other, and that's, to me, the best part. Well, besides the stuffing.
And this is what I want our listeners to think about. Jody, you're feeling about that too?
Yeah, I remember one Thanksgiving when I was a kid in particular. I think we did do the round the table thanks, sort of like sitting around a campfire is what that experience felt like. And this one Thanksgiving in particular, the power had gone out.
Wow.
And it had gone out right after the turkey had finished, so it wasn't a disaster. It was, but there were candles everywhere. I think the kids had been putting olives on their fingers and going into the bathroom and doing puppet plays with the olives.
Love that.
And we got going with the thank yous and gratefulness. It was sort of thank you to the cook and thank you to, for having us. But I think because the lights were out, it took on a much more sincere and really thoughtful tone than oftentimes it can be. Anytime you're going around a circle, it can be kind of quick and like just get the attention off of me.
Definitely. I remember just one experience I had. It was on about 100 acres of land on the Fraser River. Similar thing happened. It was stormy. It was windy and maybe a little snow flurries, but the power did go out too. But I remember the same feeling that you had. Something came over the whole experience. It went away from the initial family gathering to, in a sense, roughing it, And I remember candlelight, and I remember a lot of different kinds of food. I remember the same sort of talks and thankfulness of it was a new family meeting for the first time, so that had a component. But it takes me back to the thought that Thanksgiving, we always make such an incredible deal, or Christmas or birthdays where we're acknowledging another human being, we're celebrating that day. Why can't Thanksgiving, and this is probably a question that's been asked a million times, why can't it be every day? I mean, why don't we take the time, or do we take the time every day, even if we're sitting around rushing to have a quick frozen dinner or something after work, to be grateful and thankful for the day and take a moment to give thanks to whoever your higher power might be, or your family or your friends.
I've got a beautiful black walnut tree outside my house, and I have found that it helps to have that moment. That one's in private or on my own every day, to just sort of take a second, either in the morning or as I'm going to sleep, and review the small victories maybe of the day, and send out some heartfelt thoughts to the people. I'm trying to get better at that practice of, as it's happening, as you are, of recognizing when something good is going on and when I'm feeling grateful, and just saying it then. I mean, that seems the most and sort of open-hearted way of being in the world, but it's a practice.
It is, and when you were speaking, I was thinking, my grandfather used to have this saying, my daily constitution, that was his thing. It's my daily constitution. And so growing up, I kept hearing those words. And as an adult, I took that daily constitution to kind of mean self-reflection. And at night, I am grateful. And I don't do it at mealtime. I'm not ritualistic in that way, because I'd be thanking myself for the meal because I cooked it. But at night, I do try to give thanks for the day and to, in my way, bless people that I love and care about. And that's become my daily constitution. Now, when my grandfather was saying it, I think he meant going to the bathroom.
Oh, I thought you meant walking.
No, I really think he meant going to the bathroom, but I didn't.
You can be grateful for that capacity too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely, when you get to that certain point of life, for sure. I think that's the metaphor for Thanksgiving. I think if we remember that, if we can think about that on a daily basis, it's that one simple step. For ourselves first, to be grateful within ourselves, to feel the love for ourselves, to feel good about ourselves, and at the same time transmit that to other people. And share, sharing is a lot of what Thanksgiving is to me. Just sharing stories, sharing thoughts, supporting, listening, being able to listen to somebody who needs to talk, and being grateful, generally just feeling gratitude.
Well, and I also think that as we get older, our traditions change, with the people that are in our life. And I'm going to be married, and now what are my traditions going to be with this new person in my life? And so to me, it's exciting to have new traditions.
That's an excellent point, and I'm glad you brought it up. Traditions, making new ones, probably celebrating some of the old ones. I mean, we can't celebrate them all. I can't save all the fat from the bones and make this gelatinous mixture that my grandfather and grandmother loved to eat on Thanksgiving on crackers or whatever. I'll keep that tradition separate. But I can acknowledge the tradition, like you said, to have something of our own, something that's passed on to our kids, and hopefully that they'll continue to pass that on.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think this is a fascinating sort of aspect of Thanksgiving, of all holidays, that as you grew up, Jill, honoring your grandparents' traditions, mm-hmm. I at some point noticed in my family where the adherence to the form of the tradition was compromising the spirit of it. Mm-hmm. And
That's true.
I feel as though it is possible, and we're all experimenting with this every year, I think, as holidays come around, to evolve what the tradition looks like.
That's a really good point.
And you keep the heart of it alive,
the core,
I think, that
instead
way.
of getting fixed to having to do things a certain way. You see a lot of disappointment sometimes where somebody, maybe a family member, or wants to do it a certain way and try to relive that moment or that specific, technical experience. But I think with that, just to relive the tradition or that good memory and sharing that memory sometimes is good enough. All right, so I'd like to segue this incredible conversation into some food, which is what Thanksgiving is all about. And I'd like us all to take a couple of minutes and describe a dish that they either have had or they make, or talking about tradition. I think we'll start off with Jill. Tell me about your favorite little thing to do on Thanksgiving.
I love stuffing. I could eat stuffing every day. I like cornbread stuffing. I like regular stuffing. I apparently now like gluten-free stuffing. I love stuffing. And I think there's a thing that happens where it's soft, and then there's a crunchy thing, and then there's the herbs, and then it's just like this explosion in your mouth of just comfort. I've made lots of different kinds of stuffings. I happen to like sausage in my stuffing, sage in my stuffing. We're going to make this year sausage and crystallized ginger in the stuffing.
Yay!
I know. I'm so
Very
excited.
Sounds great. Inside the bird or cooking it separate?
I don't want to eat it in the bird.
Some people do that for a lot of different reasons.
It looks pretty in the pictures.
Right. There's that old feeling about, if you leave the stuffing in overnight in the carcass and you eat it the next day, you're going to die. I mean, there's so many.
Oh, I didn't get that old feeling growing up, but
that was a big one. So therefore, gosh, if there was one little, piece of crouton or whatever, on the plate that fell off the bird the next day, that was it. Anyway, Jody, tell me about yours.
I grew up with pumpkin pie as comfort food number 3 probably, and my mom would make it for me when I was sick without any crust. Just the pumpkin pie filling was what I got. So that's always the signifier, and really for me the emblem of the tradition. I spent a holiday up in Alaska where the supermarkets don't have a lot of fresh food, and that was I think the last time I decided I wanted to make a canned pumpkin pie. I did get to finally, as I've been living here where there's so much amazing seasonal produce, get to make one from scratch a year or so ago, and that's kind of revolutionized things.
I'd love to taste that. I've only had that once, and it was using the little sugar pumpkins, I think they're called. That was really incredible. Well, you brought up a good little story. My favorite Thanksgiving treat is something that I've had since I was a little kid. My mom would take a couple of cans of yams in this heavy syrup and drain them, and then she would take that, mush them up a bit, and she would take a can of pineapple, save a little bit of the juice, and put the chunky pineapple into the yams. Then she took a jar of maraschino cherries.
Jeez.
And took the red dye number 6 dip cherries and mixed that into the whole mixture. If it wasn't sweet enough at that point, she would take some maple syrup, but actually, of course, it wasn't pure maple syrup. It was the store-bought sugar syrup, and pour some of that in with some brown sugar and stir this gelatinous mixture up. She'd take a baking dish, and then she would mix 2 different kinds of marshmallows, little baby marshmallows, into the mixture.
2 kinds.
2 kinds, and then she would lay that in the pan, and then she would put on the top, she would put on the really big campfire marshmallows on the top, and then she'd take carefully another maraschino cherry on each marshmallow, and this casserole will go into the oven slowly.
Did the casserole have a name?
It was Aunt Sally's sweet potatoes or something like that. Okay,
Well,
fine.
I'm no longer afraid to eat the stuffing inside the turkey.
And I'll tell you, it sounds crazy, but it is delicious. And just to have a little bit of sweet stuff with your savory turkey and
I like the
dressing.
notion of the sweet stuff, but I'm going to take your word for
I
it
am
on
too.
Aunt Sally's
I
sweet potato
will
casserole.
I will make that for you guys sometime, and I think you'll either like it or you won't. I know a lot of people
Those are your two options.
they roll their eyes, but the next
Do they
day
still make those cherries?
they do.
Oh, yeah.
The,
Oh, really?
the next
What
day,
are the green ones?
the green ones are really delicious too. They basically taste the same. I think it's just green dye number 6. It's basically the same thing.
I did find natural maraschino cherries.
Really?
Yes.
No,
Can be done.
oh, I'd like to see that. Well, I just want to thank you both for being here. It's been incredible. Any parting words for Thanksgiving this
I just
year?
hope everybody feels loved and gives thanks.
I'd like to honor all of the indigenous people who have been on this land for a long time, and in the process of giving thanks for all the people I love, think about some of the not so beautiful parts.
Thank you, and I'd like to be thankful for another day and some nice air to breathe and whatever good things we can do for other people and good things that have come our way, especially with this wonderful cast of characters sitting next to me. Jody, thank you. Jill, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stuarto.
We'll look forward to next year and adding a little bit more trivia quiz to this great show.
Gobble, gobble.
Gobble, gobble.
Gobble, 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 that turkey gobbles, gobble, gobble.
Here's a little gobble gobble music to get us into our next segment when we're going to go off to a real turkey farm and see where the turkeys come from.
Gobble, 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 that turkey gobbles, gobble, 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 that turkey gobbles, gobble, 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 that turkey gobbles. Coming to my house tonight, coming to my house tonight, coming to my house tonight. Gobble, 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 that turkey gobbles, coming to my house tonight. And then we'll gobble up and gobble up, gobble up the gobbler, gobble up and gobble up, gobble up the gobbler, gobble up and gobble up, gobble up the gobbler. Man, I'm thankful tonight. Man, I'm thankful tonight. Man, I'm thankful tonight. Gobble, 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 that turkey gobble. Man, I'm thankful tonight. Mashed potatoes.
Well, as promised, we're up here at Hidden Meadows Ranch to talk about turkeys, and I'm very, very happy to be here with Laura today. Hi, Laura.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's just the calm before the storm. We've had a lot of wind the last couple of days, and it's almost Thanksgiving. So, I mean, first off, one of the questions I wanted to ask you right off the bat, are turkeys synonymous with Thanksgiving to you?
Oh yes, that's the main meat at Thanksgiving. I hear of families who do ham for Thanksgiving, and that just doesn't do it for me.
I was raised the same way, not with the ham, but with the turkey. And I had a very good friend who was Italian, and the big thing was not turkey, it was lasagna, actually.
Oh no!
They made it with turkey,
Oh my gosh!
which is neat.
My gosh!
So tell me, first of all, how did you get into raising turkeys?
I actually got into raising turkeys through my dad. We moved up here to Mount Vernon about 12 years ago, and he said, "Oh, if you have a farm up there, you must have a farm turkey." And so he gave me money to purchase farm turkeys.
So in other words, he said that to you because if you're going to have a farm and you eat turkey, you might as well raise your own.
Yes, or whether or not we were going to eat them, that a farm ought to have a farm turkey on it.
What is the job of a farm turkey?
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I gotcha. And when you get a turkey, is it a little chick?
Yes, now I raise most of my own. At the beginning, I purchased them as poults. Baby turkeys are called poults rather than chicks. And each year I still do mail order some poults, but I also am raising most of them myself.
So in other words, you'll raise a poult. So this is a crazy question. What comes first, the poult or the egg?
Well, the egg
Yeah.
does.
Okay. So you'd have an adult turkey laying an egg and hatching a poult.
Correct.
And somebody would order a poult from you.
Right. Or they order their Thanksgiving turkeys, and I'll start getting, actually, my first deposits will be next week when people pick up their turkeys for this year, and they will place a deposit for next year.
For next year. And then, so is the life of a turkey a year, basically, before you...
The baby turkeys are usually hatched out around April, May, and so they grow about 6 months.
And that's it. Wow, amazing. And do you have names for your turkeys, or do you not get attached to them?
Mostly they're too hard to distinguish from one another, so even if we gave them names, it's sort of irrelevant.
Okay. All right, so the question basically is fresh turkey, wild turkey. Is it called a wild turkey? Is there a difference between the turkey you raise and what would be considered a wild turkey?
Yes, a very big difference, like a 500-year difference. Back when Columbus came over here to the Americas, the wild turkey was a native bird here, and he took it back as an exotic bird to Queen Isabella. She then apparently raised them, but within 50 years, the turkey had become a standard bird in Europe as a farm bird, and within 150 years, when the settlers and those who came after the Pilgrims came back to the Americas, they brought the domestic turkey as a standard farm animal. So there is just hundreds of years of breeding difference between the wild turkey and what we consider our domestic turkey.
And so how does the turkey connect to Thanksgiving? I mean, do you know
President Lincoln was the one who who set Thanksgiving as a national holiday, and possibly, well, we know that the Narragansett turkeys were given to him as an inaugural gift, and back then the White House had its own home farm, and so probably it was eaten for dinner at the White House, and from there it became a tradition.
I wonder if there's still turkeys in the White House.
Yeah. But the other reason why turkeys become connected with Thanksgiving is that Thanksgiving is sort of the very end of the growing year before you go into winter, and so all of your extra birds you're going to butcher and do something with. And since turkeys take about 6 months to reach a nice eating age, Thanksgiving is the big holiday that you'd put a big bird on the table for serving to your family.
You were talking, there's a certain kind of care on a daily basis that has to happen with turkeys. I mean, do you go out and see them every day?
Yes, as a fellow whose family had been raising turkeys since the 1800s, he told me that if you don't go out and visit your turkeys at least once a day, they will come visit you. And since heritage turkeys can fly, even if you keep them in a pen or a pasture, they will fly out, and they will be up on my deck and coming to tap on my window. So I get out to visit them, and of course they need to have their feeders filled up once a day.
Once a day. Fantastic. All right, so we're looking at a whole bunch of them right now, sort of heading our way. Are they coming this way because they recognize you?
They are actually coming this way because my border collie is behind them, and he's bringing them over here to us.
Oh, fantastic. Yep, 2 border collies, and their names are?
Junior and Jesse.
Incredible. All right, so they're heading our way. So I see 2 different colored turkeys. I see a white turkey, and then I see more of a gray sort of turkey. They all sort of have the same body shape. What's the difference?
Okay, there are actually 3 types of turkeys out here. The gray barred ones that you see are indeed Narragansetts. Then within the white turkeys, there are 2 different varieties. One are ones that we call a broad-breasted white, and those are the ones that you would typically see in a grocery store, and they grow very fast. The white ones that are there, that are actually the larger ones, actually just hatched out toward the end of July, August, and so they grow 2 to 3 times faster than the others.
And you said something about 6 months. So how full grown are they at 6 months?
At 6 months, my Narragansetts, the hens will reach about 10 pounds, and the toms will be about 13 to 14 pounds. When they get older, people on the radio can't see it, but I have a couple of toms that are now 4 and 5 years old. They actually are up at about 24 pounds, and that's about as big as they are going to get at all. But then the other white ones that we have in here are some small Beltsville whites, and they are now considered a heritage turkey, although they were developed by some universities back in the 1930s. But these white ones fully raised themselves on pasture all of their life, but they hatched out in April, and they are going to finish at a nice, 10 to 15 pounds.
So these would be considered free-range turkeys,
Yes.
organic free-range turkeys?
Not certified organic, but we don't use any pesticides or hormones or antibiotics, so for all intents and purposes, they're organic.
Are they prone to any kind of disease?
Yes, they are. In fact, since I free-range them and I have my chickens right next to them, they are prone to pick up viruses from the chickens. They also, unfortunately, are prone to a parasite that they pick up as from earthworms as an intermediate host. So that's one of the downsides to free-ranging the birds is they are.
A little activity going on between the dog and the turkey.
Yeah, he's feeling the dog is insisting that they all come over here, and they're feeling somewhat disinclined.
It's an incredible sight to see. I wish our radio viewers could see what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a couple of turkeys up on top of a roof right there.
Yeah, the ones on the roof, the highest one up there is the top tom, and then I always keep a second one, and so those I keep as my breeding toms, and they will be here year round.
Now I also notice alongside the turkeys I see some pigs, or are they called pigs?
Oh yeah, those are pigs over there.
And you raise those also for the
Yes.
same?
Yep. They the ones that you're seeing over there will finish December 6th, so they only have a couple weeks left.
Is it possible for us to walk amongst the turkeys?
Sure.
Great. All right, we're going to head in now. This is very exciting. It's a long way from here to a Safeway or something like that. Actually, to a normal food market. Hi, guys. Anybody want to say anything? So what? I don't hear a lot of gobbles. There you go. Wow.
The gobble is from the tom. Tom's gobble. Hens don't usually gobble.
Is Tom just sort of presiding? Now I noticed in the beak, it's very, very. Doesn't look like a hard beak. On the end of his beak, there's sort of some.
He has what's called a snood hanging over, and it actually is the same as the little bump that's on their noses.
I see.
But when they're feeling confident, then they will extend that, and it droops, and it's part of their beauty display.
What is the difference between a male and a female turkey as far as the taste, or is there any difference in that way?
Yeah, there is. The major difference, of course, is size. The toms tend to be more heavily muscled. The hens are fatter. And even in these free-range turkeys, even in birds that are low on feed, the hens still will have more fat inside.
Incredible. So is there a lot of turkey eaten in your household?
No, there isn't, because I can sell these for such a premium that would make it a very expensive food to eat in my household.
Do you save one specific one for your Thanksgiving meal?
We always get a special one for our family. In fact, we are eating a broad-breasted one this Thanksgiving that weighs 36 pounds.
Wow, incredible. Is it still roaming around?
No, it is not still roaming around. We decided he'd gotten big enough, and he's sitting in the freezer.
Tell me what a fresh turkey must taste like.
Oh, the fresh turkeys are wonderful. The heritage turkey, there just is no comparison in taste between the free-range ones and ones that in the past we used to purchase at the grocery store.
Everybody has a different way of cooking a turkey. There's a certain concept to it. So I have a couple of questions. Can you tell anybody that might be listening a tip based on seeing them from a poult all the way to and I say this with all respect, to a dinner table?
Yes. I strongly recommend as you're cooking your turkey that you use a thermometer. particularly if you're purchasing a heritage turkey, where there is just a little bit of there's less consistency. The breast meat, there's less of it, there's less moisture in it, so that just straight following some cooking rules are not necessarily going to get you the results that you want. The other is that the flavor, the juice that comes off of a heritage turkey is just so wonderful that to just suck it up into stuffing is a waste.
And what is your theory? Do you stuff your birds?
No,
Okay.
we don't. We never. In our household, gravy is a beverage, and so we want as much. If there's going to come juice coming off that bird, we want to be able to put it into gravy. We cook our carcasses afterwards for chicken stock, and so we have plenty of chicken stock, and it just has a rich flavor to it.
Well, my big theory of being out here is just coming to the place where they spend most of their year before the Thanksgiving. And what do you have to be thankful for this year?
Well, there is a blessing that comes to people who raise food for other people, and I've sold all my animals this year. That's a blessing. My kids have grown up and are mature and healthy, and that's a blessing.
Fantastic. Well, I want to say thank you and happy Thanksgiving.
You're very welcome, and happy Thanksgiving to you too.
Thanks, Laura.
Yep, bye-bye.
We've come to the time in the season when family and friends gather near to offer a prayer of thanksgiving for blessings we've known through the years, to join hands and thank the Creator now when Thanksgiving is due. And this year when I count my blessings, I'm thanking the Lord, He made you. This year when I count my blessings, I'm thanking the Lord, He made you. I'm grateful for the laughter of children, the sun and the wind and the rain, the color of blue in your sweet eyes, the sight of a highball and train, the moon rise over a prairie, and oh love that you've made new. And this year when I count my blessings, I'm thanking the Lord, He made you. And this year when I count my blessings, I'm thanking the Lord, He made you. And when the time comes to be going, it won't be in sorrow and tears. I'll kiss you goodbye and I'll go on the way, grateful for all of the years. I thank for all that you gave me, for teaching me what love can do. And Thanksgiving Day for the rest of my life, I'm thanking the Lord, He made you. And Thanksgiving Day for the rest of my life, I'm thanking the Lord, He made you.
That was a beautiful song by Johnny Cash, sang to June Carter Cash. Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is a holiday generally celebrated in the United States and Canada, and I decided to invite a couple of friends of mine. One is from El Salvador and one is from Mexico, just to get an idea of how their families celebrate Thanksgiving. In getting ready for this show, I started searching for all kinds of different Thanksgiving music. I found a bunch of different things. Give a listen, and we'll be right back with my special guests.
I'm a jive turkey, you better believe it. A jive turkey, you better concede it. A jive turkey, I never mess around, no. 'Cause I'm a jive turkey, you better believe it. A jive turkey, you better concede it. A jive turkey, I never mess around, oh. So don't get in my way on Thanksgiving Day, 'cause I'm not afraid of y'all. Don't get in my way on Thanksgiving Day, no, I'm not your butterball. I'm a jive turkey, jive turkey, and I'm a jive turkey, jive turkey, and I'm a jive turkey, jive turkey.
Welcome back. I'm really excited today because Thanksgiving is just such an interesting day. A lot of people have the day off. I'm really happy to have kidnapped in the studio for just a little while two of my wonderful coworkers, and we get a chance to work a lot. They're very involved in several different things here and work very hard. They have a really cool shows, and one is on Saturday, and I hope our listeners will listen to that. It's sort of a pioneering show here at KSVR. Hi, Emily. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you for inviting us.
Oh, you bet. And Rosario, I'm glad that you're here too.
Hi, thank you.
So I'm going to put you guys on the spot. I know Thanksgiving generally is celebrated. I found out through the course of this show that it's only really celebrated in the United States and in Canada. So I imagine in your parts of the world, you don't really celebrate Thanksgiving. Emily, you said that they don't celebrate it all down there.
We don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but we have, I don't know how you say it in English, but something that we said, a la tierra que fueres, haz lo que vieres. So where you go, you do what they do, something like that.
One of the sayings would be like, do like the... make like the dancers do or something, where you are, you become what other people are in a sense for that day. You celebrate things. Mm-hmm. If everybody's wearing a green hat, then maybe you need to find a green hat.
So I have been here since 1990, so I have 20 years here. So we, every Thanksgiving we get together and now we celebrate.
And Rosario, what about you? I mean, in Mexico, they don't celebrate it generally. So since you're living here, what do you do?
Yeah, since we live here now, we're bicultural. So yeah, we do celebrate it, and we do have the main dish, which is, turkey.
All right, so I'm really excited to know what else you might have on that day. I mean, besides the turkey. I mean, because, like, for instance, in my house, they would have different things. They have some of the Jewish food. And my good friend, who's Italian, the first thing they have is like a lasagna. Americans, they think in terms of turkey and stuffing and potatoes and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So what's a nice addition that you might have?
We have what it's called tamales.
Oh,
it's a very traditional Mexican food, so especially during, a big event or a holiday.
Now, do you make tamales yourself?
I'm going to be honest. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I don't.
You don't. Okay.
I watched my mom do it, and I feel bad.
Tamales are one of my favorites. So is it with pork or was it beef or chicken?
It's chicken.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm. And it's really good.
Does she make a specific sauce for your tamale?
Oh, yeah. It's a spicy sauce.
Is it a red spicy
It's
sauce?
red sauce. It's traditional mole from southern Mexico, from the state of Oaxaca.
And mole is generally a little sweet, isn't it?
Not this one. It's spicy.
So what is the definition really of mole? Because, there's several different kinds of mole sauces. Mm-hmm. And I know sometimes it has sort of a chocolatey kind of sweet taste to it. Mm-hmm. So there are different kinds of moles?
Yeah, there's different kinds. But this one, it's not really... It has chocolate, but it's not really sweet.
Oh, but it's spicy.
It's spicy. It's good.
Nice. Emily, tell me something that from your country some food that you make.
We usually in the holidays we do tamales, but there are a lot different tamales that from Mexico.
So what's the difference?
Well, we do it in banana leaf.
Oh wow!
And they do it in
right in a corn husk.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So tell me about that. This is interesting. Is it still maize? Still the same sort of corn flour?
It is flour, but we cook the masa first. We cook that, and then we cook the chicken or pork, and then we put it all together, and
then you steam it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! And is there a sauce that goes with that?
No, but we put some vegetables like potatoes, green beans, garbanzos.
Wow. So basically you prepare in advance and you steam it. How long do you usually steam it for?
For about an hour. And I don't know why, because everything is already cooked. So
is food from Central America, is it considered spicy? Is it
no,
similar? It's
no,
not,
we don't
is it?
use any spice there.
So how do you like personally? Do you eat hot food? Is that something that you like? Or?
No. When I was coming from Salvador to the United States, when I was in Mexico, it was hard for me to eat there because everything was
hot.
Like fire for me.
Well, I lived in Spain for, quite a while, and it's the same thing. I was so expecting there to be, spicy hot food, and it was never spicy. Is there any holiday in El Salvador that would be considered a day of thanks that you can think of?
Christmas.
And what about in Mexico? Is there any, besides Christmas, is there any kind of day where you get together with friends and relatives, and is there a day that's specifically geared towards being thankful?
Probably Christmas and 16th of September, Independence Day. Biggest holidays.
Mm-hmm. So what do you guys have planned for Thanksgiving this year?
Thanksgiving, well, the usual, family time, and it's going to be over at my house.
Emily, are you going to be with family too?
Yes, we are.
Are you making those tamales?
My mom's going
to
make those tamales.
Do you have an extra chair at your table?
Are you coming on Thursday?
I am.
So we are having a family reunion in Frontal. My mom and my brothers and the whole family.
Oh, that'll be fantastic. I would like to give you guys the opportunity just to talk to your listeners for a minute, because you have many. And would you like to just say a happy Thanksgiving?
Feliz Día de Dar Gracias. Que se la pasen muy bien en compañía de toda su familia. Y si no tiene familia con quien celebrar, pues reúnase con los amigos.
De igual manera, feliz Día de Acción de Gracias. Que se la pasen muy bien y esperemos que coman bien rico también, y si no, pues salgan a comer afuera.
No se preocupe por la dieta. En estos días festivos no hay dieta.
Thank you so much, you guys, for being here. Happy Thanksgiving. Well, it's been a fun evening. I want to thank all my guests and all their participation. I hope all of you are safe. I hope this year is a year of peace and of love and strength for everybody. Have a happy Thanksgiving. This is Stuarto Glasser. Thanks for listening. See you next year.
All right, I hope you enjoyed that special. It's incredible to realize that we did most of that many years ago. I want to thank again Jody Bueller. And of course, we lost Jill Dodge Quanstrom several years ago, but she was an integral part of so many things that we did with the food, and her memory lives on every day. Touched so many people, taught so many classes, did so many great things. So I'd like to say that this show is dedicated to her. Here on November 22nd, 2024, we love you, Jill.